Hangestead, did he call in to get on the agenda, Mr. Hangestead? Okay, then he'll do it for next week. So I'm aware of that, and then I'll be around for that one. All right, it is 9 o'clock. Let's say the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Consider for approval minutes and agenda.
I'll make that motion to approve the minutes and agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
Motion by Derby, seconded by Jensvold to approve minutes and agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Number 2, consider for approval resolution directing County Commissioner of Elections to call an election submitting the question of adopting a levy and imposing a voter-approved emergency medical services property tax pursuant to Iowa Code 422D.
Is that the updated resolution for that, or?
I'm actually going to leave it.
Okay. That hasn't changed, so, okay.
I have one both ways, but I feel like it needs to be like
Yeah,
that.
that's fine. So this resolution would put 75 cents per thousand levy for EMS. It will generate $478,000 the first year. And then also a 1 cent surtax on income tax. And this would fund the EMS program throughout the county, focus on the paramedic service, helping out in a expanded way around the county, whether it's needs with the services and filling in gaps, or to also and there will also be some funding going towards the services themselves.
You know, the point was made that that shouldn't be, we shouldn't be giving money to these. Why are we giving any to them? I suggested they each get 70,000, but that's too much. We're probably giving 30,000. We're still giving that 501c some money. And the argument was made that it shouldn't happen, yet we still are.
I don't know that the consensus was, I don't know who all thought we shouldn't give them money to work with. So to me, the consensus sounded like everybody was in favor of some of those formulas that we had, come up with that included 30,000 towards each service to help them in their needs.
Is that even in here?
No, that part is
No.
not.
Right, so,
That's
I
more
mean,
than the
that's,
explanation to the public.
okay. My question is regarding the duration, the length.
The committee suggested 14 years.
But would accept 10.
It's true. But at any given point throughout that 14 years, we can go back.
It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's the only time it would matter is if we didn't need to change anything, then we wouldn't have to change anything for 14 years. But if something needs to be changed, you just start the process soon enough to get it changed before the end of the duration. I mean, you can set the duration at whatever it is, it really doesn't matter.
Do you think that 14 versus 10 is less palatable to the,
Not if we explain that at any given time it's not, if it's not working, we can petition to, dissolve it.
okay,
It's not something that we're tied into and can't vote out.
right. Other discussion?
Can I make a comment? Or you give me a chance another time?
No, that's fine.
Since I don't see the resolution, it does say up to 75 cents, right? It doesn't say we will do 75 cents, right? I'm hoping it's worded so that we can sell it better if we have the possibility of only imposing 65 cents of levy this year. Or we're not tied into having to do the 75 cents.
Ad valorem property tax not to
to
exceed
exceed.
75 cents.
And the same way with the penny, I assume, or is that
I
a
think
one way or
that's
the
harder
other?
to, I think you almost have to do the penny on the tax.
Okay.
It just, that also says not to exceed though.
The only
Okay.
thing, I think, the easiest way to do it is collect the 1% and then lower the levy to accommodate any
That would be cleaner, I'm sure.
lesser
Easier.
needs. I don't think we have.
Is
a
there,
lot.
I know that there was some discussion about using the retail tax first. Wasn't there?
Retail.
Well, I mean, the
Income
one,
tax surcharge.
yeah,
But yeah, and that's what I was saying. That surtax would be there every year as a 1%. Then you look at that revenue and you look at the levy and the needs of the system, and you determine what your levy's gonna be.
We're gonna reduce it, and you reduce the levy.
levy, yeah.
If we have dramatic increases in valuations, you're gonna decrease the
Yeah,
levy.
I'd love to see that at 32 cents someday. Okay, any other discussion? Does this need to be read? Item to include, just,
It'll be in the minutes.
okay,
We've
It'll
all
also
read
be
it.
published.
It'll be published with the minutes, but there'll also be a publication, a notice published separate.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution directing County Commissioner of Elections to call an election, submitting the question of adopting a levy and imposing a voter-approved emergency medical services property tax pursuant to Iowa Code Chapter 4.2D.
I'll second.
a motion by Derby and seconded by Jenshold to approve this resolution as stated. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Well, one thing that has to be addressed yet is the inequities now,
Yes.
because 27% of the people are not gonna pay 67% of this bill.
Do you feel like it needs to be addressed before the vote, or
No, it's gonna take time, because
we've got a
approach
year?
the cities and stuff.
I agree with
Which
you.
I don't know how that works.
I think there needs some education by budget time so these cities are aware. And I feel like Forest City, Lake Mills, Thompson, they're the ones sitting there last night, right?
You know, Buffalo Center was there too, their clerk.
They're
Not the mayor, though.
No, not the mayor.
I feel like understanding it and expecting it.
Scarville?
Scarville,
Scarville.
well, $350.
But
still,
I
But it-
feel like if they were in on more meetings, were aware, they would come up with some of their own fundraising that would far exceed $350. You know, they could have their own picnic, they could have their own door-to-door. And I think once people understand the situation, they will. Hopefully.
But how would that work? I mean, we're taxing the whole county here with this levy. If the cities were to put their money in, I mean, that's gonna have to be on their own levies. So then they just gonna reimburse the county, or, you know, how would that work? We would lower our levy to match that
Might
amount
have
that
to go
they
towards
give.
the trust fund. A transfer to the
In the trust fund, yeah.
And then in essence, you end up lowering the levy
Yeah.
either that year or
Yeah,
the next
yeah.
year. Or- Is that how you'd see it, Carla? I mean, that's what I would hope is the cities pony up, make this more equitable that way. I feel like the citizens of Forest City are probably always gonna pay that biggest portion. I mean, you're saying the inequity of the 27% because they'll be paying a bigger dollar amount, not a bigger tax levy, because we're still.
No, their
going to
levy
pay
is the same, but the dollar amount
the dollar
coming
amount they're paying,
is not coming from people that are creating that much demand.
whereas we keep our levy higher,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean Lake
You're-
Mills would have to be as high as ours, or Buffalo Center, or
Yeah.
Rake, or anybody would have to be as high as Forest City, but we have the biggest demand again. I mean, this is exactly how I
The
think,
highest dollar amount will still come from Forest City in a sense, if you do it, well,
highest levy amount,
yeah, it's,
but the dollars will still, a substantial amount would come from the
because your
rural,
guys' levy is now gonna go down considerable. So,
depending on how much I have to,
well,
Put in,
and later
yes.
on, it's gonna go back up some, and to the level that it should be for everybody, to be fair. So,
mhm.
I'm not trying to get it to where my end of the county is gonna, I mean, what is fair, even if it costs me money, it's fair is fair. And it would cost me money, because if more of this comes out of the, city coffers, I live in the city of Buffalo Center, that means I'm gonna pay more. And, so I should be all for what's going on right now, in a sense, financially.
So what are we gonna say to the rural people? That's who I thought you were talking about.
Well, the rural people right now, we have to straighten out the inequity that the rural people are gonna absorb right now. Because most of the demand is from the cities, and only 23% of our population lives in rural, but they're gonna be paying the rural roughly 67%, if I get it figured right. So,
With no revenues coming from the cities.
yeah, when the cities aren't paying, right now, it's gonna be 23%, which is the farmers, and rural residents are gonna be paying 23% of the, or 67% of the bill when they're only 23% of the population.
Because most of the people I talk to, 90% of the people I talk to are rural.
And I haven't talked to anybody in the rural that's gonna get overly upset about this.
They're not, but
It's
still,
just, but what,
it's because maybe they're just a little more generous, I don't know. Or they, in my case, I think the reason I can rationalize paying more as a rural is that if I need an ambulance, EMS, they might have to come to 13 different sites. I have 13 different parcels, farms, you know.
and
So, it's a, I don't know, they have to go farther than just to somebody's
Farming.
house.
farming on average is also a more dangerous profession than most jobs. I mean, there are jobs that are more dangerous, quite a few, but
Yeah.
farming is one of the most.
But that's the only response that I have to tell to my fellow farmers when they say something about this. So, give me more ammunition.
I think the auto dispatch is gonna be a big thing to sell on.
Yeah, yep. Keep that right up front all the time so people are realizing that the response time is gonna be better. Is there anything else we wanted to discuss at this meeting?
Pretty limited for agenda.
Mm-hmm. You have everything you need, Carla?
Yes.
All right then. This meeting's adjourned.